Good morning. Welcome to episode 2 of Divya's Discoveries. So I'm still getting the hang of this. On Life Labs on Friday, I shared something that I feel was really quite profound and worth reinforcing. And basically, it is about how we approach this element of self-mastery and personal work in general. So I've heard people make comments about, oh, I've done a lot of this work already, and I feel like I should be there, some element of destination focus. Now, an earlier version of me would get extraordinarily frustrated with any repeat task. So flossing, laundry, going to the toilet, like you name it. If it was something that I had to do more than once, it carried an element of annoyance for me. And what I didn't know then that I know now is that it was an indicator of fixed mindset, performance-based thinking, where I just wanted to be done and tick a box. And life, as you well know by now, is a series of repeat tasks that we do again and again. And so how we be as we do the tasks is the difference that makes the difference in our experience. And so as we were talking about managing our state and regulating our state, I shared that I've come to understand self-mastery and personal work like eating and going to the toilet. I don't imagine I will ever be done with that. I can't conceive of a time where I will have eaten so much food that I will never eat again, even if it feels like that for a few hours. Inevitably, the food will wear off and I will get hungry again. And same thing goes for bowel and bladder movements. So appreciating the continued nature of this work and understanding that it isn't a reflection of something poorly done in the past. Like if you have to go to the toilet now, it doesn't mean that you didn't also go earlier. Do you know what I mean? So understanding that it is a continued process, that is the definition of personal work and self-mastery. Managing our state so that we can respond to whatever the external world offers us in the most aligned and appropriate way. Be that with humor or curiosity or agility, intrigue, whatever feels right in that moment. But being able to access the fullness of our resources. So I'm going to loop that back to what I've been considering this morning, which is filters and what we choose to filter for. So I've just read an article in the New Yorker about my university, Oberlin in Ohio, and it's a small top-tier liberal arts university, very politically active, and this article was about just that, politics at Oberlin and other liberal arts schools and intersectionality. And I noticed that one of the prevalent things that occurred to me throughout each person, there are at least a dozen different people interviewed in the article, it was predominantly problem-focused rather than solutions-focused. And I can reflect back to my time at Oberlin, and I know that I had the same experience. I was problems-focused. I was looking at what are all the things that are going wrong in society and in the world, and I had this sense of heaviness in my experience as as a result of that being what I was focusing on. And so I started to wonder how different higher education would be. Mental illness is significantly on the rise at the moment, especially in universities, and what we filter for has a large part to play in that. So my invitation to you this week is to pay extra close attention to your filters and notice if you are filtering for problems, what's going wrong, or the lack, as I like to say, or solutions. What are you content and fulfilled with, and how are you able to look at areas in your life that are thriving and leverage off of those approaches and those solutions in other areas? Because internally our success strategies will be somewhat similar. So how can you look at what's going right in your world? Look for that. Find that. I'm going to leave you with a quote. I've decided to have a closing quote on these segments. And this week's quote is, "You're not in traffic. You are traffic." I think it's we're not in traffic. We are traffic. Ponder on that. Speak to you later in the week. All the best. Bye.